My parents labeled it a simple get-together after I wasn't invited to my sister's anniversary party. I went there anyway. My sister assumed I hadn't noticed her kid stashing something odd in my backpack. I inspected it and froze. Then I stealthily tucked it back into her jacket pocket. Half an hour elapsed. Then the police arrived. Emotional hook. 0 to 10 seconds. Can you believe your own family would try to frame you for theft, using an 8-year-old kid as their pawn? What kind of twisted logic leads to that? Because my family did, and the night it all went down was supposed to be a celebration. I still remember the way my stomach dropped when I realized exactly what was happening. The story: my name is Nathan. I'm 28. The oldest child, the designated problem solver, the designated driver, the designated... Well, you'll understand later. In our family story, my younger sister, Ava, was always the golden chapter. I was the line that got skipped. I was the one who, at 17, fixed Dad's truck because he didn't want to pay a mechanic. The one who stayed up with Mom after her night shifts, brewing coffee because no one else would. I learned to talk to bank clerks, landlords, and school administrators before I could legally drink. I paid my own tuition, stacking shifts until my feet ached. And yeah, I know the exact price of a gallon of milk in 3 different stores near my apartment. Ava just shined. She had perfect timing. When I brought home a 3.8 GPA, she somehow found a way to mention her new social media followers. When I got my first full-time job, she posted a photo of a ring light, and my mother commented, "So proud of the talent in this family." Guess which one got all the hearts? For years, I told myself, I'm not bitter. I'm practical. Some people are good at making grand entrances. Some are good at cleaning up messes. I learned to carry a broom. Then, 2 Saturdays ago, Mom called me while I was at the laundromat. "Honey, just a heads up. We're having a little get-together tonight. Nothing big. Just family." "Where?" I asked, my internal alarm bells already ringing. "At the Gables." They gave us the back patio. The Gables, the nice place on Maple with the string lights and $14 mocktails. Who's US? "Oh, you know. Everyone. Everyone minus me." She sighed. Ava didn't want any pressure. You know how you can be intense about money stuff. "We'll see you Sunday." Money stuff meant I asked who was paying before ordering appetizers. It meant I didn't split the bill evenly when someone decided to try oysters and 3 cocktails. It meant I brought an envelope for cash gifts and wrote amounts down so they didn't get lost. I'm not intense. I've just tallied too many disappearing dollars in this family. So that night, when I saw Ava's husband post a story from the cutest not a party ever with a giant 10 years balloon in the background, I put on a jacket and drove over. Not to cause a scene, truly. I just wanted to hand her the card I'd already written. $100 cash and a note. "May your next decade be calm." I thought I'd leave it with the hostess, like a normal, boring adult. The patio was full. Candlelight, a long table, clinking glasses, and a cake with it tin piped in gold. Get together, right? I stayed by the fence. I wasn't invited. I know how to be small. Ava spotted me. Her smile froze for half a second, just enough to register. Then she waved, a big, performative gesture, like I was the mailman. "Nathan's here." A few heads turned. Dad lifted his chin. Mom mouthed, "Play nice." I walked up with the card already out. "Congrats." Ava hugged me, a cloud of perfume and champagne. "I told Mom it was no big deal," she said, a little too loud. You know how she overdoes things. I didn't answer. I set the card by her purse on a side chair. That's when her son, my nephew Leo, materialized near the desserts with that guilty, curious look kids get right before they try something new. "Hey, buddy," I said softly. He glanced at Ava, then back at me, then at my backpack on the ground by the chair. My work bag, zipper half open because I'd pulled out my wallet earlier. He shuffled close. Too close. His hand moved quick, clumsy, like he'd practiced on a couch cushion. He slid something dark and small into the front pocket of my bag. I blinked. "Leo." He jerked, swallowed. "Mom said I could." Look at your stickers." I didn't have stickers. I waited 2 beats. He scurried away, shoulders tight, straight to Ava. She didn't look at him. She didn't need to. She lifted her champagne, laughing at something her husband said, and touched the pocket of her jacket, like checking for keys. My throat went dry. I crouched, unzipped the pocket he'd used, and my fingers hit something wrapped in tissue. I peeled it back just enough to see the edge of a velvet travel jewelry pouch and a flash of diamonds, clustered, heavy, with a tag tucked inside that said something like, insured. Return to. I froze. Ava's new anniversary necklace, the one Mom had been bragging about all week. A custom reset, so classy. A wave of heat washed over me. My first instinct wasn't anger. It was logistics. Cameras. Who had line of sight? If I called it out right now, who would believe me? If I left, what would that look like? My heart was doing double time, but my hands were calm. I slid the pouch out, covered it with my palm, and in one smooth move, tucked it into the inside pocket of Ava's white blazer, hanging off the chair arm. Then, I zipped my backpack. I picked it up. I smiled at Leo when he peeked around the dessert table. I didn't say anything. 30 minutes later, 2 officers walked in through the patio gate. The music cut off. You could feel the air rearrange itself. If you're reading this thinking, that's a stretch. Who frames their own brother at their anniversary dinner? I need you to know, this wasn't step 1. This was step 47. I learned early that my role in our house was to make things disappear. Bills, messes, awkwardness. At 15, I negotiated my parents' cable bundle down $40 a month by threatening to cancel. Mom called it charm. At 17, I refinanced Dad's truck loan after I read his mail by accident and saw a 19.9% interest rate. He called it nosy. At 19, I paid Ava's $312 parking boot because she had no cash and was 5 minutes from a total meltdown. She called me a hero in front of her friends, and so dramatic behind my back when I asked for it back 2 weeks later. It was always small. $60 here, $140 there. Can you put it on your card? Mine's maxed. Payday is Friday. I kept a note on my phone labeled IOUs. It had names, dates, amounts. It also had a lot of question marks where I stopped believing my own system. Ava and I weren't close growing up. She did cheer. I did part-time shifts in community college. Dad loved that she brought energy into a room. Mom loved that she looked like Mom. I looked like my grandfather, quiet, square-shouldered. And I brought spreadsheets. When Ava got married, I was the only sibling in the unofficial bank. Bridal shower? I covered the extra chairs. The DJ forgot the deposit. I Venmo'd $250 under the table because we can't have silence. A week after the wedding, Mom returned a cake stand and forgot the security deposit was on my card. It was only $75. You're always so particular, she said when I asked about it. A year later, Ava and her husband Aaron bought a townhouse. It's a stretch, she admitted, but they approved us. You know what rent is like. I did. I also knew what a teaser rate looked like. Their mortgage ballooned exactly when inflation did. Groceries doubled. Gas shot up. No big deal, cards became big deals. Aaron is a competent guy with expensive taste in gear and a high tolerance for, by now, pay later, Nathan. I watched the math, and the math didn't blink. It just kept adding lines. The summer before the anniversary, I started hearing more about surprises and wishes. Ava would wink on calls with Mom. He has no idea. It's going to be so special. I didn't ask what special meant. I just took the bait they dangled. We'd love it if you could handle the cash box at the party. You're good at that. Me? There's a party. Mom. Not a party, honey. A get-together. Low-key. No pressure. 2 weeks before, Dad called me from the porch. I could hear the creak of the swing. Nate, you know your sister. She wants things nice. Nice costs money. A pause. Well, your cousin sent $50 toward the group gift. We thought maybe you could fill the gap. Just for the necklace. We'll settle up later. How much is the gap? Not much. How much? A few hundred. How many few? Don't be difficult, he snapped, slipping into the voice that ends conversations. It's not about money in our family. It's not about money. Means it's exactly about money, and they want you to stop noticing. I didn't say yes. I didn't say no. I said, text me the number. He didn't. 3 days later, Mom texted a winking selfie from a jewelry store. We did it. Underneath, a receipt peeked out. $3,899 before tax. I zoomed in. Paid by card. Last 4 digits weren't hers. They were familiar. Mine. I stared at it long enough for my coffee to go cold. I checked my email. A fraud alert had landed 30 minutes earlier. Was this you? I clicked no. The bank froze the card and reversed the charge. 10 minutes after that, Mom called. Why is your card being weird? Because someone used it without permission. Don't be dramatic, she said. It's for family. It's theft. Watch your tone. They unfroze it by trying Ava's card. The purchase went through with a payment plan. I only know because Dad complained to me later. They gouged you with these installments. Don't do installments, I said. Well, we wouldn't have if someone hadn't made a big deal about. Click. After that, Ava stopped answering my texts. Fine. Then came the invitation that wasn't the get-together I was excluded from because I asked questions like, who's paying? And did you budget for the tip? Meanwhile, Mom kept hinting, you'll get your moment with her Sunday. Bring your checkbook. Kidding. Unless. So when I showed up at the Gables, I wasn't walking into a surprise. I was walking into a pattern you could see from space. The second I saw Leo's hand slip into my backpack, the math did itself. If the necklace vanished and the difficult brother had been there uninvited with a bag, easy story, clean lines. And here's the part that still makes my stomach flip. The person I loved most in this equation was the kid. Leo's a good kid. He likes Lego sets and counting the coins in my glove box. He also wants to make his mom happy. If you want to make a child do something wrong, you don't call it wrong. You call it helping. I didn't know who called the police. The manager? The anonymous tip mom would pretend not to know about later? Doesn't matter. 2 officers entered, and the table shifted from party to scene. Evening, the taller one said. We received a call about a missing item. Ava pressed a napkin to her mouth, like she was composing herself. My necklace, she said, her voice trembling in that careful, practiced way. It was on this chair. She looked at me, a calculated sadness in her eyes. My brother, he came by and, I don't know. He's been under a lot of stress. Nathan, I said, keeping my voice even. My name is Nathan. The officer's eyes moved from Ava to me, then to my backpack on my shoulder. Sir, mind if we ask a few questions? Of course. I placed the bag on the table and stepped back. Do you want to look inside first or talk first? Calm. Calm buys you space. Panic gives other people a script. Ava dabbed her eyes. We don't want to make this a thing. It's family. Aaron stood, gestures big. It's probably a misunderstanding, he said to the cops, then to me. Right, man. I looked at Leo. He was white as the cake frosting. Here's what I'd like, I said. Please search my bag fully, then asked to see the inside pocket of my sister's blazer. Left side. The table went very, very still. Mom blinked like a cat in a sunbeam. Dad's jaw tightened. The officer glanced at his partner. We'll start with the bag. They opened every compartment. Front. Pocket first, then main, then the small zip I always forget. Pens, charger, a work notebook, 2 granola bars, receipts, the birthday card I'd already put on the side chair. No jewelry pouch, no tissue, no diamond flash. The officer nodded once. All right, check the blazer, I said, tone steady. Inside pocket. Ava laughed too loudly. That's ridiculous. Why would, ma'am? The officer said. It's quickest if we just check. She froze, then lifted the jacket from the chair. Her hands shook in a way that didn't look like acting. She patted the outer pockets, then reluctantly turned the lapel and reached into the inside. The napkin fell from her fingers. The velvet pouch slid out, bumping softly against the table. The tag peaked. The diamonds flashed like the world's most expensive exclamation point. No one talked for 5 full seconds. Silverware clinked far away. Somewhere on the street, a siren bled into the night and then faded. I put my card with the gift, I said quietly. I didn't touch the necklace. I came to say congratulations and leave. Mom recovered first. Well, what a relief. She laughed the way people laugh when the host trips and doesn't fall. Huh? Must have been a mix-up. The officer took notes anyway. Ma'am, did you report a theft? Ava's face crumpled. She wasn't good at silence. I thought I lost it. I panicked. Did you ask your son to put it in my bag? I asked. My voice didn't rise. Leo. Leo looked from me to his mother. That very small moment, I will never forget. His fingers pinched the edge of the tablecloth and he whispered, Mom told me to help. Aaron swore under his breath. Dad said, watch it. Mom hissed, don't make this bigger than it is. The taller officer cleared his throat. We're satisfied the item is accounted for. We'll file a note that there was no theft. However, I want to be clear for everyone here. Involving a child and hiding an item is serious. You all might want to talk. They left. The patio air snapped right back into clinking and whispers, but none of the noise belonged to us. We were a spill nobody wanted to mop. Ava's cheeks were blotchy. She tried to smile, failed, and went for indignation instead. You made me look insane, she said, turning on me. Showing up uninvited, making a scene. I didn't make a scene, I said. I prevented one. Aaron rubbed his forehead. Ava, what was the plan here? She looked past him, at me, like I was being rude for existing. You weren't invited because you always ruin things with your spreadsheets. I didn't want you counting envelopes next to my cake. She glanced at Mom, then lowered her voice. We just needed the gift money tonight. And you're always so tight-fisted, Nathan. I knew you'd bring cash. I thought if the necklace got misplaced, we could. I don't know. She shook her head like the words she needed wouldn't arrive. Forget it. The police arrived. I said we're past forget it. Mom found her footing. Sweetheart, you know your sister's been under stress. The mortgage. There it is, I said. What? The part where it isn't about money, and then it very much is. I set both hands flat on the table. I could feel my pulse in my palms. You bought a $3,899 necklace you couldn't afford on installments, and you were going to cushion it with cash. And if that didn't cover it, you'd use a mess to pressure me. Dad stood. Watch your tone. I am, I said. I'm watching it very carefully, because this is the last time I use it here without boundaries. Ava crossed her arms. So what? You want an apology? No. I looked at Leo. He looked at me like he'd just swallowed ice. I want you to know I'm done playing this role. Mom scoffed. Which role? The one where I pay for everyone's mistakes and then get told I'm dramatic for noticing. The one where I get excluded from a get-together and then invited to provide additional funding. The one where a child is sent to put a necklace in my bag. Nathan, Dad warned. Family sticks together. This isn't about revenge, I said, and my voice surprised me by how even it was. This is about closure. I left my card on the table with the $100 inside and walked to the parking lot. No dramatic door slam, no speech. The night air smelled like rosemary from the landscaping. I drove home with my phone buzzing on the passenger seat. Mom, then Dad, then unknown, then Aaron. I didn't answer. I turned the phone face down and watched the red lights ahead of me bloom and shrink. By the time I climbed my stairs, there were 19 missed calls and 22 new texts. Mom led with guilt. You embarrassed your sister on her night. Then anger. How dare you accuse me of theft? Then logistics. Can you come fix the bank app tomorrow? It won't connect. Then a photo of Leo asleep in the car. A last-ditch mercy play. I put the phone in a drawer and made pasta. The next morning, there were more. A group chat I hadn't muted yet lit up with relatives. Aunt Carla. What happened last night? Mom. Nothing. Nathan overreacted. All good. Aunt Carla. Privately, 3 minutes later. Tell me your side. Also, I saw them go outside with the cops. You okay? I typed and deleted. Wrote, I'm fine. Taking a break from family events. Sent it. Simple. Dad called at 9:10. I answered on the fourth ring. Son, his voice was flat. You crossed the line. I found the necklace in Ava's jacket pocket. Your sister is under financial strain. So am I. That's not the same. No, I said, it's not. I'm selective about who bears it. Silence. Then your mother is upset. I'm sure. And you don't care. I care enough to stop pouring into a bucket that has no bottom. He hung up without a goodbye. At noon, Aaron texted, Can I talk to you alone? Not defending last night. I didn't know she told Leo to do that. I met him for coffee because I needed a control conversation. He looked awful. Wrinkled shirt, eyes half sunk. She's drowning, he said, hands around a paper cup he didn't drink from. The mortgage jumped. Daycare costs are stupid. And she wanted the necklace because everything else feels like losing. I should have said no. I didn't. That's on me. How much are you short monthly? I asked before I could stop myself. Reflex. He pulled a face. $600 after minimums. More if we want to pay down the cards. $600. That number has a taste. It tastes like just help for a few months. It tastes like we'll settle up later. It tastes like staying longer than you planned because you needed to be needed. I'm not loaning you money, I said. I'm not co-signing anything. I will sit with you and make a spreadsheet. I will help you call your credit card companies and ask for promo APRs. I will find you a credit counselor that isn't a scam. I will watch Leo on 2 Saturdays so you can pick up. Over time, but I'm done being the invisible line item. He nodded once. The relief in his face told me he knew this was the only kind of help that wouldn't rot us. Okay, he said. I'll take that. News travels in families like ours faster than actual facts. By dinner, the narrative had evolved. Nathan stormed in, accused Ava of stealing, threatened to call CPS. I hadn't. But it's easier to be mad at a sentence than a system. I typed a message to the family group, then deleted it. Typed again, shorter. I'm stepping back for a while. No loans, no using my cards, no surprise visits. If you need me, text me what you need in one message. I'll answer in 24 to 48 hours. I love Leo. I wish you well. I sent it and turned off notifications. 10 minutes later, Mom called 6 times in a row. The 7th rang as restricted. I didn't answer. The next week was loud and quiet at the same time. Loud. My phone lighting up with accusations and deals and clarifications. Quiet. My apartment finally sounding like a place I live instead of a place I recover in. I bought a new kettle because mine squealed. I fixed the loose cabinet hinge I'd been ignoring. I slept without my stomach doing math at 2 a.m. On Wednesday, a screenshot from a cousin. Ava's Facebook status. A long post about devastating betrayal and people who hold money over love. The comments were exactly what you'd expect. Stay strong, girl. Family can be the worst. One person wrote, but why police? And the thread died for 5 hours. Thursday, Mom tried nostalgia. She sent an old photo of me holding baby Ava. You've always protected her, she wrote. Don't stop now. I stared at the pixelated version of my teenage arms and felt a rush of tenderness for that kid. He didn't know what protection would cost. I replied, I will not protect her from consequences at the expense of my sanity. Friday evening, I got a text from a number I didn't have saved. Leo, Mom said I did a bad thing. Are you mad at me? My chest hurt in a very specific way. Me? I'm not mad at you. You were trying to help your mom. Leo, did I ruin your party? Me? It wasn't my party. I'm okay. Do you want to come over this weekend to build the Lego car? A beat. Leo, can I ask your dad? If he says yes, I'll pick you up. Only with his yes. Aaron called 10 minutes later. She's not thrilled, but I'm your 2 Saturdays. He forced a laugh that wasn't funny. Sunday at noon. We built the Lego car on my living room floor and ate pizza. And I didn't say a single adult sentence about guilt or boundaries. He's 8. He knows when the air is wrong. He doesn't need nouns for it. By the second weekend, my missed call count hit 41. Mom escalated to relatives. Aunt Carla texted, she's telling everyone you froze her bank account. I hadn't. I sent a single line back. That's not true. Sunday, Aaron and I sat with their bills spread across my coffee table. We called 2 credit card companies. We drafted a budget that wasn't a punishment. We listed the subscriptions that auto-renew when you're not looking. 3 streaming services, a premium photo editor, a meditation app no one uses. We found $210 of cancellations. Aaron set his phone to ask to buy for App Store purchases. We wrote a list titled, Money Ava Touches Only with Her Eyes. He laughed and then looked guilty. I put my palm up. This is a team sport. Back in the group chat, Dad finally sent one message that sounded like him and not the chorus. Your mother overstepped. She knows. It wasn't an apology. It was the outline of one. I didn't write thanks. I wrote nothing. Sometimes the healthiest thing you can do is not feed a sentence. Monday morning, my HR portal pinged. I clicked before thinking. Our annual bonus had posted. After taxes, it was $2,346. I closed the tab. I didn't tell anyone. I didn't write windfall on a whiteboard and build a case for benevolence. I paid my own dentist bill, scheduled it, and felt like a wizard. That night, Mom sent one more text. Come for dinner Sunday. Just us. We'll talk. I stared at it for a while. I typed, I'll meet you for coffee for 1 hour at Daylight Public Place. Bring no bills. Sent. She replied immediately. You're ridiculous. I didn't answer. We met at Daylight Cafe. 10 a.m. Sunday. Neutral ground. Too many plants. Mom wore her I'm not mad cardigan. Dad came too. I got black coffee. They ordered leverage. Mom started. I'm sorry your feelings were hurt. Try again, I said. She exhaled. I'm sorry I tried your card without asking. I'm sorry I told Leo to help. I'm sorry I called the police. You called. I thought it would scare you, she said. Into paying. Into caring. Dad cleared his throat. We don't expect you to fix everything. You do. I said. Here's what changes. I slid a single page across. Not a contract, just lines. No loans. Gifts will be small and named gift. No access to my cards. No, just once. No ambushes. Ask in one text, in advance. Kid is off limits. If he's used again, I call it in. Separate checks. You order it, you pay. My presence isn't currency. Mom bristled. A list. Yes, I said. I followed yours for a decade, and it was invisible. She went quiet. Dad read it like a manual he needed years ago. One small nod. And what do we get? Mom asked. A son who shows up without resentment. An uncle who plays Lego without doing ledger math. A future where I don't disappear. Her eyes filled. You would do that? I almost didn't. She folded the page and tucked it into her purse. No promises, just keeping it. We finished our coffee. No hugs, no vows, 3 separate totals. The quiet of people understanding a boundary is a door. Use it or leave it. Don't lean on it. At the exit, my phone buzzed. Aaron's photo of Leo grinning with a Lego car. We did the wheels. I laughed instead of crying. In the lot, Mom called. Nathan. I turned. I won't ask you for money. Good. I will ask you to dinner next month. Low key. Text me. I'll let you know. Driving home, my hands felt light, not empty. Mine. No big twist. No grand apology. Closure is small, boring decisions you defend on the worst day. My name is Nathan. I'm 28. Not background anymore. Not revenge. Not forgiveness. Boundaries. Call to action if anyone ever tells me. It's not about money. I'll smile, ask for separate checks, and pay exactly my share. It feels good. So, tell me, have you ever had to draw a hard line with family? How did it go? I'd really love to hear your experiences in the comments below.